Mr. Logan. We first want to begin by thanking you all that it's truly an honor to be given the opportunity to speak to you, and slightly terrifying. Some of the things that we talk about will be very personal and still very difficult for us to speak about. Mental health and suicide are very fragile, personal subjects, but in order to break the stigma are very much necessary. Being here, speaking to all of you like this, puts us at risk for opening old wounds that have fully yet to heal, because suicide does that. It creates a wound so deep that it never truly heals. It changes you for life. There's no going back to the person that you once were. There's no reset button. You are forced to create a new existence where the trauma resides deep down inside of you, weaving its web throughout your entire core being. Our deepest wound was created the morning of January 6th, 2012, when our sister, Taylor Donadeo, decided to make a decision to end her own life. Taylor was just 16 years old, with an incredible future ahead of her. She was beautiful, popular, she was captain of the cheerleading squad, a good student, and a very loved daughter, sister, aunt, and friend. She had a laugh that could light up any room and a personality that drew you in and made you want more from her. She once had dreams and aspirations to do great things in life, but on the flip side, she suffered from anxiety and depression. She battled demons far darker than any of us could ever imagine. I was 17 years older than my sisters, so I was more like their mother. And when Taylor decided to leave us, I felt like I had lost a daughter. I was her person, her safe space. I was who she came to when the weight of the world became too much to carry on her own. I would have lit the world on fire to save her, and I tried. She was never a burden or a problem, even though she felt that she was. And if I had known that the last time that I hugged her was our last hug, I would have held on to her with such a fierce intensity. I would have memorized her scent, her voice, the way her arms felt wrapped around my waist. I would have traced every freckle and drawn an image that I could have remembered forever. I would have easily traded my life for hers. It's been 12 years since the day she left this world, and I remember the day she died like it was yesterday. For years, that day would inhabit my thoughts and my dreams. A day that started like any other mundane day, ended with me having to rip away my daughter's innocence, telling them that their favorite person in the entire world was gone. Gone without cause or reason, gone without any answers. Their guttural screams still plague my thoughts, and their faces of terror have a permanent spot in my nightmares. I had to sit by and hold them and comfort them and watch them cry, unable to eat or sleep, trying to make sense of this unexplainable tragedy that their little minds were physically incapable of doing. The silence that I once welcomed became overwhelmingly loud with sounds of grief and sorrow. I spent the following days, weeks, years on autopilot, having to remind myself just how to breathe. I could barely even take care of myself, let alone the people that were counting on me at the time. I was so angry at her and at God. How could my precious Taylor be gone? How am I never going to see her crooked little smile or hear her infectious laugh? I lived in a state of shock, void of all human emotions. The world kept spinning, even when I was down on my hands and my knees, begging God to make it stop. But that's not very realistic, is it? The world will keep spinning. And the people around you will continue living their life without skipping a beat. Eventually, with the help of therapy, I would start to heal. I no longer had to remind myself how to do every simple day tasks. I no longer broke down in the middle of a grocery store when our songs would come on. I didn't have to pull over on the side of the road just because the tears were making it impossible to drive. I could finally speak her name and talk about fun times and memories and actually smile and laugh. I had countless talks with her and God, and I forgave them. I had to start living my life for the people that were here, even though it felt like a betrayal to her memory. The world can be very unfair and very unkind, and much like mental illness, it doesn't discriminate. Taylor's death rocked our foundations. Her death created alcoholics and addicts. It nearly ripped apart marriages. It created financial instability, perpetuated poor decisions, and it broke apart friendships. It changed every fiber of our being. Many of the outcomes were temporary, but some were not. Taylor couldn't see beyond her pain to know the aftermath of what her death would bring. She made a permanent decision for temporary problems. So many of us suffer from mental health disorders, but we have to keep going. We have to keep fighting every day, even when it's so much easier to just give up. I can say this with confidence because much of my lifetime has been plagued with anxiety, depression, PTSD. The hard, ugly truth is I didn't have a good life. I didn't have a good childhood. Thankfully, I survived a suicide attempt myself when I was just 12 years old. I'm the survivor of every type of assault that you can imagine, including rape, bullying, heartbreak, death. You name it, I've dealt with it. I could say that I'm a victim of, but I'm not. I'm a survivor. I would be allowing the demons of my past to win, and I refuse to let that happen. I've worked too hard and too long to succumb to the world that has tried to break me. I've instead learned to make friends with my demons, and now we walk hand in hand through this crazy, beautiful life. I've repaired the cracks of my foundation, and there is nothing more than I am prouder of today. I thank God for giving me the strength to persevere, because now I'm the mother to two insanely incredible women. I have a master's degree in nursing. I've achieved many great things in this life, things that I know Taylor would be proud of me for, things that I longed for Taylor to achieve, but she didn't give herself that chance.
Taylor was my twin sister. We were 16 years old and juniors in high school when this tragedy occurred in our family. We spent every second together, almost inseparable. We shared the same friend groups, hobbies, clothes, and so much more. She was my rock, and I was hers when one of us needed to be grounded. She was my absolute best friend and the one person in this world that I could always count on. We could tell each other everything and anything without fear or judgment, and I think that was my favorite part about our relationship. She was truly an incredible light here on this earth, but her light was taken way too soon. She started to struggle with mental illness around middle school and just became worse and worse as time went on, until she felt like she had no more to give. She put on a mask to her friends and family, always smiling, pushing through deep pain inside, but when she got home, that mask came off. She would look at herself and she would lock herself in the bathroom and just scream and cry. Her agonizing cries still haunt me till this day because you could hear her and feel the torment and pain in them even through the door. I would sit in silence on the other side, just waiting for her to come out so I could hug her and reassure her that I was going to be there for her and everything was going to be okay. She started to self-harm. She would cut herself and threaten suicide when life became too overwhelming. She eventually became completely numb to pain. At the end, when you looked at her, her brightness in her eyes was gone and replaced with a dark void. Mental illness runs in our family. Our mom struggled with mental illness, addiction, and suicide ideation for most of our lives. She is, however, 11 years sober, and we couldn't be prouder of her accomplishments. I, too, struggle with anxiety, depression, ADHD, so I become easily overwhelmed. After Taylor's passing, I added PTSD to that list. I started to make questionable decisions, to run from the pain rather than to face it. Eventually, I knew that I had to find my own way in this world without her. Experience life's moments without her, and I had to accept the fact that she wouldn't be part of any plans or dreams that we have dreamt of and talked about our whole lives. We wouldn't be able to get our licenses together, experience college together, or celebrate our birthdays together anymore. She wouldn't be there for the birth of my children. She would no longer stand beside me on my wedding day, or I on hers. She wouldn't be able to stand to watch our nieces and nephews grow up, reaching their milestones. She would no longer be a part of birthdays, family vacations, or holidays. She wouldn't be included in any more pictures. She wouldn't be there to comfort me or celebrate with me. She wouldn't be there. That was almost an unimaginable thought, but it was my new reality that I had to acknowledge. I still struggle. I thought that I had lost my place in this world and became suicidal as well. The pain she felt consumed me completely. My world became dark. I couldn't move, sleep, eat, or even think straight. I started to have nightmares and panic attacks. I was in a darker place than I have ever been. I didn't know a way out either. I was completely lost and hopeless. I felt alone, because I was. For the first time in 16 years, I didn't have my other half to come home to. I felt nothing. I didn't know how to function without her. I didn't know how to react, and there wasn't a correct way either. I saw how it was affecting everyone around me, how others' lights started to slowly dim. I felt every emotion all at once as time went on. I started to relearn how to navigate my emotions in a healthy way. You can block this darkness. A light will always shine through. This ongoing battle has changed me. I'll never be the same. It has been over 10 years, and my body has held on to this trauma. About 3 years ago, my body started to attack itself and shut down. I started passing out randomly and often. It got to the point where a year ago, I was passing out every day, multiple times a day. After multiple doctors and specialists, I was finally diagnosed with POTS and neurocardiogenic syncope. My nervous system does not work properly. I ended up at Cleveland Clinic a few months ago where they had told me that my adrenaline was extremely high. My body was stuck in fight or flight mode and did not know how to calm itself down. We are currently working on a game plan to regulate that. Mental health disorders do that to beautiful souls. They can become an everyday struggle and can take over your whole life without any cause or reasoning. The darkness can creep up as fast or as violent as it wants to. It caves in on you when you least expect it. You have to always remember that if it turns out, have faith. It will come back on, because it will. I know it will because I did it. I blocked the darkness from taking over my life multiple times. I overcame the worst thing imaginable with years of therapy, exercising, and different medications. I slowly became better and better. My light, my strength started to actually grow bigger and brighter. I am now a mother of 2 beautiful children and have the most amazing husband. I'm a college graduate and hold a degree in specialized technology as an occupational therapy assistant. I wish so badly that I could have known what I now know. I would have told her how much better life was going to get for us. Although it seemed unbelievable at that time, if only she could have known the brighter days that were right around the corner. Despite the dark times we are already going through. This world, our peers, have failed to teach us from a young age how to cope with adversity and hard times in a healthy, safe way. I am so much stronger and braver now. I am accomplishing my plans and dreams that I had once anticipated. My advice is to hold on. I promise if you put in the time and effort in healing yourself, you can become anything you set your heart on.
You've probably noticed that Taylor isn't included in many of the pictures that you've watched behind us. That's on purpose. She's missed out on so much of our lives because she chose to make a rash decision. If she could have known what life had in store, if she could have just held on to hope, she would be in every memory and every picture. Now all we have left of Taylor is a faded memory and a tombstone at a gravesite that we visit once a year to remember her. Her life and her death now coincide with each other. Our point in sharing these hardships with you is not to gain pity, it's to show you or to remind you that life is almost guaranteed to knock you down. It will try and knock you down time and time again if you let it. Your pain and your problems will seem insurmountable at times, but I promise you, so will your joy. The joyous moments will soon outweigh your problems if you just keep holding on. Almost everybody has something in their past or present that is weighing on them, things that they may try to mask. But as a society, as individuals, we have to do better. We have to be kinder, be more gentle and forgiving with one another, because you don't know the struggles behind the smiles. We all bleed the same. We all breathe the same air. And together, we can and will prevail. We have lived through the aftermath. We've lived through the nightmare. And we are survivors. And we are here to tell you that you can be too.
Thank you. Can we hear it one more time for them? All right. Thank you so much for being willing to be here with us today, to share your story. Incredible.
Can I just say, we can't thank you enough. We are so honored. In 2018, September of 2018, the sisters were here and they spoke at YAP for the very first time. And they received the same type of reaction that you all gave them. We were in the back of the room. You could have heard a pin drop. You all were so attentive. We've been told that you all like to hear stories, real stories. Well, this is a real story. They're from Beaver Falls, I'm from Beaver Falls. I can tell you exactly where I was and exactly what I was doing when my daughter Mallory called me and said, "Mommy, Taylor's gone." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She says, "Mommy, Taylor's gone." I'm like, "Mallory, what are you talking about?" And she was so upset because you all know in your own towns, Beaver County is small. We all know each other, do we not? Nikki's daughter, Morgan, where are you at, Morgan?
Right here.
Stand up. She was my little cheerleader for Little Tigers. She was my point. She was an amazing cheerleader. The twins coached my Little Tigers, and they also played volleyball and softball with my daughter, Mallory. I went to school with their dad. I mean, this thing shook our community, Taylor's death shook our community to its core. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the reason we wanted them to come back is so that you all, anybody who's struggling right now, sees, hears them, and understands what a snap decision does, how it impacts. It's impacted their lives. Nikki, in your introduction, you said your life's changed forever and it'll never go back. And it's been since 2012, January 6th. Wow. So, this is why we do what we do. This is why we bring you together. We want you all to understand mental illness. But more importantly, again, we want you to understand what it means to be mentally well. It's very important. It's very important for you to understand your emotions. And to, that toolkit we talk about, and those of you that are new, you're not familiar with the concept of the toolkit, but we'll make sure you understand as time goes on. We want you all to develop coping skills so that you will be able to balance and manage your emotions. Maybe if there had been a program like this, it could have helped a little bit, right? We'll never know, right? But because you all have been champions and ambassadors for suicide prevention and awareness, somebody's lives have been changed. People are listening. You all are amazing. You're amazing. And just thank you.
Thank you. They are willing to answer some questions. Does anybody have a question for them? Or a comment? Anything you want to share?
Comments or questions? I have a question back here.
I believe this mic works.
Does he have one?
Questions?
I have one. I have a comment right here.
Okay.
I'm sorry about your sister.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. Questions, comments? Okay.
How do you, after, when all this happened, how did you, deal with, all, the emotions, in general?
There isn't an easy way to deal with emotions. They're messy and sloppy and they're hard. It's hard. But you have to find something to hold on to, find somebody to talk to, whether it be your parents, your teachers, your friends, your students, somebody in the community, a priest. You find somebody, or you find an outlet. You draw, or you sing, even if you can't sing, and create a new life that doesn't have the pain and the darkness in it.
Thank you.
Good question. There's a question up front.
I got it, Miss Susan.
Okay.